Hi, this is Catherine, and welcome back to Taking Tea with Catherine. I'm drinking lemon ginger tea, just what the doctor ordered. Not that I've gone to a doctor, because I don't need to, but even if I needed to, I'd probably hold off because it is January, and I don't like to go to the doctor in January if I can help it. It's a scary time to be in that waiting room. So let's hope this will stave off any need. This is not bookish hypochondriac, though. It's the other thing of shame, the haul. Not that I want to be shaming everybody who does hauls, but I did kind of say to myself that I was going to lay off the hauls or at least curtail them for a little bit. And I did the exact opposite. I've ordered a number of things online, mostly Book Outlet, and most of all, I've gone to Bookoff, which is near my job, close enough that I can go at lunchtime and come back with a nice little tidy haul. It's very tempting because you go there and you think, I'm just going to have a look around. And every time I go there, there are some books that you see there every time that I don't know if they just don't move or if people just keep bringing them back. Like 3 cups of tea. Everybody brings in 3 cups of tea. I don't know if you've ever seen this book. I read it years ago. But no one seems to want to buy it, apparently. And I just keep seeing it and I'm not going to buy it. But apparently, besides 3 cups of tea, there are other books that people read and just are done with and return them to, or bring them to Bookoff, and they pay a little tiny pittance for them. I think probably like 30 cents a book or something, and maybe a quarter, and then they sell them for $1. So mostly on the purchaser's end, it's a win-win situation. And honestly, there are a lot of books there. They're but there's also a lot of really good selections, or at least decent selections. So if I go there thinking, okay, there's not going to be anything today, every time I go there's something that I want. So yeah, I've kind of failed a bit miserably at trying to not haul. I'm going to try to use the now I gotta be responsible thing like I did after I got Freddie. For a little while, I held off on buying books and general shopping because I had a new cat and I had to take care of extra expenses. And now I have a 3rd cat. And yeah, she was my neighbor's cat and she's really cute. And she keeps Freddie on his toes, which is good because he was always picking on Zenobia, who's almost 15 and doesn't need that kind of nonsense. So we're all just getting used to each other, but, that means extra food, extra litter, extra medical care, so I gotta really watch it. So let's hope that's enough to push me away from book buying for a little bit anyway, because I have so many books. It's not like I'm just not, I only own 5 books and, no, I have enough to last me my lifetime. But that being said, I'm going to show you the books I got at Bookoff, and I'm also going to show you 2 library books that I checked out because, so much for that resolution. But this one is just hilarious. So this is Clouds of Witness. It's the next Lord Peter Wimsey mystery from the last one I read, Dorothy L. Sayers. Terrible cover. I don't know who thought this one up. It's a large print edition because that was all that was available, and I don't feel so bad taking out large print because at this point in life, most people who are reading large print also have access to like Kindles, and they use those. And also, I actually have really bad eyesight, so it's a relief. No guilt. But yeah, I just don't like the look of this one. However, the other book I took out happens to also be large print. It's just that kind of a coincidence. And it is Elementary She Read by Vicky Delaney, a Sherlock Holmes bookshop mystery. A much nicer cover. Got a kitty cat that kind of looks like my new cat. And by the way, the cat's name, not the one that my neighbors gave her, but I've decided to give her a new name because Baby just seemed generic to me. So I call her Jane Poston because it's about time I named someone after my favorite author. So this isn't Jane Poston. This is Moriarty, which is another name that would be great for a cat. But anyway, I don't know. It takes place mostly in a bookshop that sells mostly Sherlock Holmes themed stuff in Cape Cod. This could be good, but whatever it is, I'm not going to talk about it any longer because these are mystery books and I'm going to have a tea and mystery coming up at some point. But speaking of, this is going to Bookoff now. This is London After Midnight, and it has it's a tour of its criminal haunts. It's got stories by Agatha Christie, P.D. James, and they put a sticker on top of it. So now we have to open it up and look inside. And I see all kinds of people. I see John Dixon Carr, R. Austin Freeman, E.C. Bentley, Dorothy L. Sayers, Peter Cheney, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Because, The Adventure of the Worst Man in London. I don't even know that one, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Ruth Rendell. Yeah, so we got a good... P.D. James, we got a good amount of people, and so, I haven't selected as my TBR, which I should have, but you never know. Going over the channel, see a novel called Paris by the Book by Liam Callanan, sorry. And I don't know anything about this except it's a kind of someone disappeared and all they have is some plane tickets to Paris, so I guess there's going to be, it might be a slight mystery, I'm not sure. I know very little about this. And that's all I'm going to say about that. This I know about. It's one of those books that I actually read, but I love this series so much. I thought when I saw this, the debut, which I'm very much into debuts, as you probably know. It's always a fun thing to start at the beginning. And this is Laurie R. King's The Beekeepers Apprentice. It's about Sherlock Holmes, but it's also about Mary Russell, who is a young girl studying, I think, at Oxford, and I think she's American, and she goes to Sussex and runs into a beekeeper who happens to be the retired Sherlock Holmes. And I'm not going to say any more about that because, read it yourself. But I want to reread it at some point, or at least go over it a little bit. It's been a long time since I have, so I thought, oh, here we go. I'll have it on me. Now, here's a book I'm pretty sure I had in my apartment growing up. I don't know what happened to it, but I feel like my mom had this book. So I could be wrong, but this is Time and Again by Jack Finney. And it's kind of a weird, I've never read it, but it's kind of a weird time travel book. Like someone in New York somehow finds themselves in the 1800s in New York. And I could like that. It's, especially when I'm reading more New York books. They have like pictures in the middle of it. Let's see. I thought this is the Dakota building. The Dakota, it's apartments. So I guess some of it takes place at Dakota. The Dakota. Which, how many times am I going to say the Dakota? Which, if you don't know, that building's been a while there. It's been there for a while on West 72nd Street. It's gorgeous looking, and it's mostly famous. There's a few reasons it's famous, but to me it's mostly famous for the fact that John Lennon lived there and also was killed in front of it. But, so fans still go there, to pay tribute. I've done it before, It's kind of sad, though, but it's a gorgeous building. Anyway, moving on. So, I like Edith Wharton. I'm intending to read more Edith Wharton this year. So when I see a book of hers that I haven't read yet and haven't really heard of, I am picking it up, especially when it has this kind of, I don't know if it's art deco. I don't know what you call this design. I'm not always good at remembering that sort of thing. The Glimpses of the Moon. Yeah. So, yeah, I found it for $1. A lot of times Edith Wharton stuff in Bookoff finds its way to the classics area and ends up being like $5. So I was glad to find this for $1 because I feel like it slipped through. That happens because the $1 section once in a while will have like a Trollope or something. I think I actually got a Trollope recently from there, or maybe saw one. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, and here is, I think Pride and Prejudice just had another anniversary of its publication, and I missed like acknowledging it, but I can't acknowledge everything in life. But this I've never heard of. It's it looks like, this was originally published in 1949, and it's the second sequel to Pride and Prejudice ever written, the first being Old Friends and New Fancies from 1914. So this is Pemberley Shades by D.A. Bonavia Hunt. I had never heard of it before that I remember, and I thought, this could be maybe good during Jane Austen July or thereabouts, because if it's hopefully happening this year, I think it has been happening the past years, and usually they have some kind of theme where you read a version of something, so if I don't read it by then, there you go. Now to, yes, we've hit the 10-minute mark, and I've only just begun with my nonfiction, so let's see. Can we cover this in less than 10 minutes, or am I going to keep rambling? All right. I mentioned finding Anthony Trollope's. I actually found a biography of Anthony Trollope, which was kind of it's a Penguin book. Anthony Trollope by Victoria Glendinning. I hope I'm saying that right. But yeah, it's just got a picture of him in the front. Kind of looks angry or thoughtful. I don't know what I'm trying to see. Let me see, when was this written? I don't even know because I didn't look. And let's see, 1992. So it's, there's probably other biographies of Anthony Trollope, but I don't see too many. And, Dickens has like 1 billion of them. So it's nice to see any of Anthony Trollope. And, I've been reading more of him recently, so this might go along with it. Maybe it'll give away spoilers, so I'm a little cautious about reading this right about now. Is it worth the risk? I don't know. Speaking of spoilers, I was going to talk about this another time, but I watched Doctor Who, and on Sunday, less than an hour after it was aired in the UK, not even in the United States, in the UK, they, a couple of magazines on Facebook, and not on Facebook, but yeah, well, online, published articles about stuff that happened, and in their headlines, so that's where I saw it on Facebook. I guess you can also find it on Google. Their headlines were actually spoilers. Not just one, but like 2 very big spoilers, and I was so angry. Yeah, Radio Times magazine, or Radio Times, I don't know if it's just called that, and The Mary Sue, which is about, I don't know, feminist sci-fi, or I don't know what it is, what the exact theme is, but I kind of just unfollowed them because I said, I get angry enough when classics get spoiled in a biography, but at least we can understand that the classics have been out for at least 100 years usually. So if I'm going to get spoiled, well, it might have happened anyway. But something that hasn't barely been out in anywhere, no. Unacceptable. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I just had to because that just made me so angry. Anyway, and I won't spoil it for you if you haven't watched it yet. Let's get back to the haul. So this is Shelf Discovery, the teen classics we never stopped reading, or reading a memoir. I love memoirs. I love books about books. So there it goes. I see there's something about Ramona Quimby in here, which I read growing up. A Little Princess, which I have yet to read. And I have there in my children's books. The Little House books, yes. Judy Blume, yes. Lois Duncan, yeah. Those things scared me. So this should be fun. And I might get spoiled, but in a way, if I know what I'm in for, if I know that it could happen, then I'm not as angry. All right, so I have some biographies about Queen Victoria. She kind of was my gateway into reading history, so I'm always interested in another book about her. I don't know if this is any good, but I feel like I have another book by her. I'm going to turn my back on you for a second. I'm just going to look back here for a second. No, it's not a flattering look on me. Sorry. The search is over. But anyway, Carolee Erickson wrote Her Little Majesty, The Life of Queen Victoria. I know I have something else by this writer, and I'm not sure if it's something I like or not, but I thought, you know what? For $1, I can never have enough biographies. But I don't, that I know of, have any biographies about Lucrezia Borgia. I know I've read some historical fiction about her, so I know a little bit about her, but not that much. And this is a great Renaissance-y picture, isn't it? Yeah. Wait, let's see who did this. The cover painting is by Bartolomeo di Veneto, active 1502 to 1555, and they say it's a female portrait. They think it might be her, so that's kind of fitting. I just love when they have old paintings on books. I always enjoy that. All right, so in time for April, in which I'm going to try to get back into poetry, by hook or by crook. This is Poetry Will Save Your Life, a memoir by Jill Bialowski, and I don't think I've read this before, but if I have, well, it's a nice little tidy book that I could always read again. And look, it's got pretty books in the front. All right. Now, Endeavour is coming back in February in the UK and in the United States in June. So that's another spoiler minefield. But I actually like Endeavour more than Morse, the original Inspector Morse, but I do like the Inspector Morse show, and I like John Thaw. I think he's a great actor, or he was. And so I saw this book by Sheila Hancock, his wife, about the two of us, my life with John Thaw, and I said, well, that's kind of interesting to, might be interesting to read about his life a little bit. And she was in an episode of Endeavour, actually, Sheila Hancock. Just a little part in there, in one episode. So this could be good. Oh, I'm coughing. Startlingly good, the Sunday Times says. So, hold on. Sorry, I had a wrong pipe moment there. Oh my goodness. I will never be the same again. I don't know, this could be good. You know what else he was in? He was in The Sign of Four, or The Sign of the Four, I'm not sure. The Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes. He was in there. So that's two things that he was in. I don't know, it could be good. It could be good when I'm finally reading the Inspector Morse books. That might go well with it. Although that's kind of weird. It's like reading a biography about Jeremy Brett while reading The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. But I don't know. It's sort of a theme. I don't know. So this is another book by Sarah Vowell, which I have a couple of books. I had one that I read, and I had one that I hauled when I was in LA, I think. And this is called Take the Cannoli, Stories from the New World. So it's basically like a travel book going to different parts of the United States with her. And she's very witty. And I don't know if it's going to be quite a Bill Bryson situation, but if it's anything like that, even if it's slightly like that, I'd probably enjoy it. So I don't know. It says she goes around, I don't know, this one part says she goes undercover of heavy makeup in an investigation of goth culture. So that could be very funny. I don't know. It could be. I don't know if that's, or if it'll be, how sensitive it will be handled. So this is, Silver Linings Travels Around Northern Ireland by Martin Fletcher. And it's got some, like, sheepies on the front. At least one of them is a sheep. I don't know if the other one might be a goat. I can't really tell. I don't have good eyes for that sort of thing. But they look like sheepish. Sheepish. And you know what? I haven't read too much about Ireland recently. And maybe it's time? I don't know. It could be time. And, well, in case you forgot that I'm a cat person, I found this. This is a bit of an older book. Didn't have a proper barcode to scan into my library. But, yeah, 1994. It's not that old. The Tribe of Tiger by Elizabeth Marshall Thomas. And author of The Hidden Life of Dogs. But this is Cats and Their Culture. So it's got a cat that's probably long gone. Did you see my face on there? Look, I don't understand why books are so, like, glossy or shiny that you could see your face in them. I don't really care for that, but this was the 90s, so different time. Now we have mirrors on our phones and stuff, Now, I read what Charles Dickens ate what Jane Austen ate and what Charles Dickens knew a while back, and I have it back of me somewhere. And I found this book, and it's by the same author, and I thought, oh, Dickens' Fur Coat and Charlotte's Unanswered Letters, the Rows and Romances of England's Great Victorian Novelists. So, I'm really reading a lot of Victorian novels lately, and this could go well with it. The only thing I think that, because I remember from the other book, another risk of giving away spoilers and stuff, but even when he did, it wasn't like every single plot point of the book. It was just maybe a detail. So I think I can handle it, and I really like this kind of cover. I know I rub books a lot, You always hear me going like this probably, but it's a nice feeling. It's nice to get the vibe of the book. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, so M.G. Lord, I don't know who that is, from New York Newsday, said a delightful book. And another writer says a delightful reader's companion. Another one says indispensable. So apparently it's delightful and indispensable. So for $1, that's a pretty good deal. I also read, and I know I was not absolutely enthralled by it, but I still was interested. The Victorian, the Romantic, by Nell Stevens, and it was just basically her research of Elizabeth Gaskell and kind of a second person conversation with her, as well as her own memoir of her own love life or problems thereof. And I saw that she had written another book called Bleecker House, and I was like, well, I'm not going to buy that right now, but I saw it for $1. And there it is. So I think she goes to Antarctica, and she's also trying to write a book. So, I don't know, it could be interesting. Is it Antarctica? I think she does. Oh, wait, no. Not Antarctica. The Falklands. But it's not that far, I guess. It's cold, you know? Yeah, I think you can't really go to Antarctica unless you, correct me if I'm wrong, unless you don't have your appendix. I think I read that or heard that or something, that because people can't always get to you. So like all the scientists that go to Antarctica, which is basically, I think, pretty much all that goes there, that they can't risk you needing emergency surgery. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's the Falklands, so I don't think that would be the same problem. I don't know. It could be a good thing to read when it's not so cold out, because sometimes when you read about something that's cold and you're cold out, it's like one big chill after another. Contrast can be good sometimes, so we'll see when I read this. Now, this is a book that I saw Olive at a Book Olive mention recently as one of her favorite nonfiction books. And again, I saw it, thought that was nice and wouldn't have bought it full price because, when do I buy things full price? Pretty rarely. But when I saw this, again, for $1, I thought, I do actually like the idea of this. This is Lab Girl by Hope Jahren? I don't know how to pronounce that. So I think this could be good. It has, apparently she studies trees, flowers, seeds, and soil, but it's also like a memoir about relationships and stuff. At least that's all I can tell from the flap. But little known fact about me, I've always had this kind of conceit that if I was going to be a scientist or into any of the sciences, I would have liked to have gotten into botany. Because you don't have to open up dead animals or dead people like you would have to do for like medical sciences. But I still think that even in botany, you're supposed to know a measure of chemistry. So that might have been a fail for me anyway. But maybe I could have overcome that even. But I think my biggest problem is knowing that I am just not a green thumb. And so I feel like, what kind of person would I be to be studying plants and trees when I can't even keep succulents alive at home? I don't know. Maybe I could have done better if I were in botany. But sometimes there are things in life that you never got a chance to do, but reading about people who did is good enough. So let's hope it's enough for me. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of books. So let me know if you guys have read any of these books, if you liked any of these books, if there's any you think I should read first. If you like talking about these kind of books, feel free to subscribe, and please don't make me feel guilty in the comments, but maybe if you want to be encouraging about my resolve to not buy any more books for a while, that would be appreciated too. This has been Catherine from Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely book and tea-filled day. Goodbye.